Hello, my friend. Have you ever sent dozens of messages only to be met with silence or cold replies? Have you tried being patient, kind, generous, only to watch her choose a guy who didn't lift a finger? It sounds ridiculous, but there's a reason. Because women aren't drawn to effort, they're drawn to men who don't need to try. In this video, I'll show you one sentence. Say it at the right moment, and she won't be able to walk away. It'll make her stop, look at you differently, and start trying to prove her worth to you. It's not a trick, not a pickup line, not something you copied off the internet. It's the language of a man with standards, a man who understands female psychology and knows exactly what he wants. We'll break down 3 things. 1, what this sentence actually is. 2, why it triggers her instincts on a deep level. And 3, how to live in a way that makes you worthy of saying it, with calm, with clarity, without trying to impress. After this, you'll stop chasing, and women, they'll start figuring out how to keep you. So watch until the end. If you're tired of begging for love, and if this hits home, share it with a brother who needs to hear this. You might just change the way he plays the game forever. 1. Women aren't attracted to looks. They're attracted to how you make them feel. There's a truth that most men aren't ready to accept, not because they don't know it, but because they don't want to believe it. You could have 6-pack abs, a chiseled jawline, and designer clothes from head to toe. But if you can't create the right feeling, she'll walk away without a second glance. Harsh? Maybe. But ask yourself, how many times have you seen an average-looking guy completely captivate a beautiful woman? Women don't fall in love with your eyes. They fall in love with the way you look at them. They don't love the sound of your deep voice. They love how it makes them feel understood without needing to explain anything. They don't care that you're 6 feet tall. They care that you make them feel more feminine when they're around you. Men live in a world of logic and images. Women live in a world of emotion and reaction. And here's the dangerous part. That feeling she responds to, it has nothing to do with reality. You don't need to be truly high value. You just need to make her feel like you're different from every other guy. Heavy thought? Then ask yourself, why do so many women obsess over men who don't even try? I've lived by the principles of Stoicism for nearly a decade, where you learn to let go of what you can't control and master the one thing you can, yourself. And in relationships, here's the greatest lesson I've learned. You can't control whether she likes you, but you can control the energy you bring into the room. Picture this. You're sitting across from her. You're not saying much. You're not trying to impress. You're not expecting anything. You're just present, calm, still, unrushed. And then you see her eyes shift. She gets curious. She can't read you. And that mystery, that's what pulls her in. Women react to energy, not your Facebook profile. A man walks into a room. He says nothing. He's not flashy, but every eye turns toward him. Why? Because energy doesn't lie. It's built through internal stability, clarity of purpose, and freedom from the need to be liked. You don't control others. You only control how you respond to them. Epictetus. And you know what emotion hits women the hardest? The feeling of being challenged, not disrespected, not argued with, but the subtle realization of, he's not easy to get. He's not like the rest. I'm not sure I'm enough for him. The moment she starts to doubt herself, that's when you hold the power. Because both men and women crave one thing above all, something they can't easily have. So here's the question. How can one simple sentence trigger such a powerful emotional shift? What's really going on in her brain? When you stop acting like she's the prize, the answer is in the next part. 2. A woman's brain responds to challenge as a potential reward. Have you ever wondered why you send thoughtful messages, speak respectfully, show care in every detail, and yet she stays indifferent? While some guy does absolutely nothing, cold, distant, uninterested, and she can't stop chasing him, it's not random. It's how the brain reacts to uncertain rewards. A study published in the Journal of Neurophysiology showed that when a reward is uncertain, but still possible. The brain releases more dopamine than when the reward is guaranteed. In other words, not knowing if you'll get something makes you crave it more. Not just like it, not just want it, crave it, can't walk away from it. That's why women react so strongly to challenge. When you're unpredictable, non-needy, and calm, she doesn't know where she stands. And that uncertainty, that's what starts pulling her in. She begins to wonder, does he like me? Am I enough? Why can't I figure this out? Picture this. You're sitting across from her, not saying much, not trying to impress, just calm, just present, just still. And in that quiet, she starts wanting to prove her worth. Sounds backwards? Yes. But that's how the brain works. She's not addicted to you. She's addicted to the version of you she can't control. When's the last time you let a woman see you calm, without trying to be impressive? If you can't remember, maybe you've been living too long in the mindset of chasing love, instead of becoming the man who gets chosen. But let's be clear, challenge isn't faking silence. It's not being cold. It's not pretending. Challenge is, I don't need you, but if you want to be in my world, you have to earn it. That's what Stoicism calls inner freedom. True freedom doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from not being controlled by your own desires. Epictetus. When you stop needing approval, you start getting respect. When you're not afraid to lose someone, you hold the power. She won't say it out loud, but deep down she'll wonder, why doesn't he need me like the others? Why do I feel like I'm not enough? And that soft insecurity is what drives her toward you. She texts first. She leans in. She wants more, from a man who's never asked for anything. Now you understand why. The man who doesn't chase is the one who gets chosen, not because he's better, but because he triggers something primal. The thrill of uncertainty. The question is, can you live that truth without faking it? Can you become the man who doesn't need her, but still has presence? If the answer is yes, then congratulations. You're ready for the next level. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. 3. You become most attractive when you don't need her. Let's be honest. Have you ever given everything? The texts, the care, the presence. You did nothing wrong. And she still walked away like none of it ever mattered? While some guy did nothing and she chased him like he was the only one, it's not because he's better looking. It's not because he's a better man. It's because he didn't need her. A woman doesn't want to be your whole world. She wants to know you'll stay grounded, even if she's no longer part of it. Neediness kills attraction faster than anything. Not love, not caring, but that desperate energy of, you're everything to me. If I lose you, I'll fall apart. The moment a woman senses that, the game is over. You know what makes her the most curious? A man she can't control, a man she's not sure she can keep. Picture this. You're sitting across from her. You smile, calmly, confident, unrushed, unbothered. She asks a question. You answer. She goes silent. You stay comfortable in that silence. No tension, no panic, no overthinking. And suddenly, she feels something. A little tension, a little curiosity, a little insecurity. And yet, she wants more. You didn't do anything dramatic, but you radiated something rare, self-possession. And women, they can resist looks, money, or promises, but they can't resist a man who makes them question their own worth. When was the last time you looked at a woman without trying to impress her? When was the last time you walked away without needing to explain yourself? If it takes too long to remember, maybe you've been living too long as the one who begs to be chosen. On the other hand, the man who doesn't need her, he doesn't get jealous over nothing. He doesn't text check every 2 hours. He doesn't cancel plans just to soothe her feelings. He doesn't need to win every argument. And then, something strange happens. She starts wanting to impress him, because when you don't need someone's love, you become the only one they want to earn it from. This is the paradox of attraction. The more you need, the more you lose. The more complete you are, the more you gain. Stoicism taught me one simple truth. The one who isn't afraid to lose holds the power. You can love, but you can't cling. You can care, but you can't abandon yourself. Because the moment you trade your value to hold on to someone, you become unworthy of being held. She won't say it out loud, but inside she'll feel something shift. Why can't I control him? Why is he so calm when I'm upset? Why am I afraid of losing someone who doesn't need me? That's when you stop being a choice and start becoming a standard. She doesn't want you because you're perfect. She wants you because you're rare. And people, we're wired to chase what we think we might lose. That is the next powerful principle you need to understand: the scarcity effect. The scarcity mindset. What's hard to get becomes more valuable. Think back to the last time you were rejected by someone you gave everything to. You texted first. You rearranged your schedule. You were always available when she needed you. You gave without keeping score, hoping something meaningful would come in return. And what came was silence. You asked yourself, what did I do wrong? Here's the truth. You didn't do anything wrong. You just stopped being scarce. According to Robert Cialdini's classic Research and Influence, people assign higher value to things that are rare, limited, or could disappear at any moment. The easier something is to get, the less it's respected. And emotions are no exception. But there's a kind of man who doesn't play games, who doesn't pretend to be busy, and yet women chase him like he's one of a kind. Why? Because scarcity isn't about ignoring texts for 3 hours. It's not about pulling back to make her worry. It's not pretending you're unavailable. It's the fact that you actually are. You're busy living your life. You're building something real. You're grounded in your values, your standards, your direction. So your time becomes rare, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you're genuinely not always available. Now ask yourself, are you making her feel lucky to have access to you, or like you're always waiting when she gets bored? Imagine yourself as uncharted territory. Every time she's with you, she senses there's still more to uncover. You're not the guy she can figure out in a few dates. You're the man who keeps her curious, because you don't belong to anyone. And that feeling, that sense of, I still haven't gotten all of him, lasts longer than any love confession ever will. You might have believed that real love means giving without limits. But the truth is, anything without limits eventually feels cheap. I used to think Stoicism meant suppressing emotions. It doesn't. It means protecting your boundaries. No one earns a seat in your inner world unless they know how to value it. A man of depth is never free to use, not because he's playing hard to get, but because his presence already has weight. Not every invitation deserves a response. Not every glance deserves your attention. Epictetus. If you're in a situationship right now, pause for 10 seconds. Ask yourself, does she see me as a prize or as a backup plan? If the answer stings, it's time to shift your position. You don't need to be taller, richer, or better looking. You just need to stop being so easy to reach. When you start living like a limited edition, the world treats you differently. So the question becomes, how do you radiate scarcity without ever saying a word? The answer isn't in your words, it's in your energy. And that is something you can't fake, because energy never lies. We'll talk about exactly how to master that next. 5. This sentence isn't just words, it's energy. You can memorize a powerful line. You can stand in front of a mirror, say it in a deep voice, with a cold stare. You can hit every pause perfectly. But if inside you're shaky, empty, or just pretending to be strong, she'll know. Because women don't react to words. They respond to energy. I don't need you to choose me, but if you want to stay, you'll have to be worthy. That sentence only works if you live by it. If not, it's just a nice suit on an empty frame. When was the last time you said something so real? She didn't listen to your words, she watched how you said them. Energy isn't something you perform, it's something you become. You can learn to sound like an alpha, but if you still need her approval, still crave love, still hope she validates your worth, she'll feel it, and it'll kill the attraction instantly. I used to think knowledge was enough, that if I knew the theory, I had control. But Stoicism taught me otherwise. You don't change your life by saying the right things. You change your life by living the right way. You walk into a room, you don't say a word, and still people notice. Not because you're loud, but because you don't need attention. You're grounded, unrushed, unmoved, real. And women, they feel it. It's not loud, but it's powerful. It's calm, solid, and unshakable. That kind of energy can't be faked. You don't have to say, "I don't need her." You just have to stay still when she walks away. That silence speaks louder than anything you could say. Someone asked me once, how do I get that kind of energy? How do I not need her, but still attract? The answer is simple. Be full on the inside. Have your own goals. Set your own standards. Respect your time. And know this, you don't wait to be chosen. You choose who you allow in. Women don't need to hear you say you're strong. They need to feel that you won't fall apart. And when they sense that, they never want to lose you, even if you never tried to keep them. So before you say, "I don't need you to choose me," pause, breathe, and ask yourself, do I really mean it? Or am I just saying this to make her stay? If the answer is the second, don't say anything, because silence is heavier than pretending. Stoicism taught me this. There's nothing stronger than a man who says nothing, but still commands attention. You want her to respect you? Don't tell her you're not afraid to lose her. Live in a way where even if she walks away, you stay grounded. That is real energy. And now, you might be wondering, why does a woman's brain respond so strongly to calm, to control, to rarity? The answer isn't just emotional, it's biological and rooted in neuroscience and evolution. And that's exactly what we'll uncover next. 6. Here's the science behind it. You might think women are attracted to high-value men, and you're right, but that's only part of the story. The truth is, she doesn't analyze you logically. She feels you through unconscious biological reactions. And when you show self-control, emotional depth, and presence, she doesn't decide to like you. Her body responds before her mind can catch up. You want to lead a woman? Don't argue with her. Trigger what's already running deep inside her nervous system. Most men don't know this. Attraction isn't a choice, it's instinct. So what does science say? According to David Buss, a top evolutionary psychologist who studied over 10,000 people across 37 cultures, women are drawn to men who show signs of high survival fitness, socially and psychologically. That means, can he manage his emotions? Can he make independent decisions? Is he easily influenced by others? And most importantly, can he walk away if needed, or will he fall apart when rejected? Another study from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found something powerful. Uncertainty increases emotional arousal, especially in women, because it creates a sense that there's something worth figuring out. In other words, the more unpredictable the man, the more unforgettable he becomes. Now ask yourself, are you too easy to read? Does she know what you'll say, when you'll reply, how you'll react? If yes, you're no longer attractive. You're no longer a mystery. You're a safe app, not a hidden treasure. She opens her phone, sees your message. No surprise, because you always text first. You always apologize. You always keep the peace. And in her brain, you stop triggering dopamine. You're not risky. You're safe, but boring. Now imagine a different man, one who doesn't need anything from her. Maybe he replies. Maybe he doesn't. But when he shows up, he's calm, grounded, unshakable. That man, her brain can't ignore. Why? Because he doesn't threaten her. He threatens her ego. She starts thinking, maybe I'm not enough to keep him. What do I need to do to not lose this man? That's survival instinct. Humans crave what's scarce and fear what we might lose. And the irony? The less you need her, the more she feels she needs you. Women don't respond to logic. They respond to signals, and the strongest signal is calm, stable, non-attachment. What does Stoicism say? A man who can't be ruled by emotion can't be bought by emotion. When you stop fearing loss, you start projecting an energy others fear losing. You don't argue. You don't explain. You just exist as your grounded, full, authentic self, not needy, not controlling, just complete. And that's when you become the man she can't quite figure out, but can't walk away from either. That one quiet line, "I don't need you to choose me," is no longer just words. It's a silent standard that makes her wonder, am I even enough to be chosen? But remember this, everything you're learning about energy, scarcity, and biology only works if you truly live it. And that is exactly what we'll dive into next. 7. This only works if you truly live it. You can say all the right things. You can memorize 100 power lines from dating videos. You can act detached, stoic, in control. But if deep down you're still craving validation, still afraid to lose her, still waiting on that one message to feel enough, then everything you project is just a shaky mask. The truth isn't in the words, it's in the steadiness of your inner world. Stoicism doesn't teach you how to perform, it teaches you how to be. No proving, no posturing, just live in alignment and let the rest adjust. Are you using theory to cover insecurity? Or are you truly living what you believe? I've been there. I knew what to say. I understood female psychology. I acted calm when I got rejected. But at night, I still checked my phone, still hoped she'd come back, still thought, maybe I wasn't enough. I had the theory, but I was still being ruled by the very thing I thought I had mastered, because I knew it, but I wasn't living it. You can't fake wholeness. Women feel it within seconds. She may not know why, but she knows the difference between a man who truly doesn't need her and a man pretending he doesn't. You tell her, "I'll be fine if you walk away." But your eyes beg her to stay. Your voice hesitates. You look down. You step back. She sees right through you. This is the misalignment. You're nodding now? That's good, but don't assume you've mastered it, because life tests you at your weakest point. When she doesn't text back, when she's online and but silent, when you act busy, but inside you're waiting. You can't fake not needing someone if you haven't learned to be enough for yourself. Try this tonight. Turn off your phone for 2 hours. Don't message first. Don't check seen. Just sit alone and ask yourself, do I feel empty? If yes, that's where you start. True freedom is not needing anyone to believe in you, to remain steady in yourself. Stoicism doesn't give you tricks to win. It trains you to become someone who doesn't need to win, but still earns respect. Be honest. If she goes quiet for 2 days, do you panic? If she doesn't reach out, do you feel less valuable? If she leaves, do you question your worth? If the answer is yes, you're not living it. You're still applying techniques, and techniques never beat truth. A man who lives in truth doesn't need to speak much. She feels it. And that feeling is why she stays. You know what's more attractive than looks, money, or status? A man who doesn't flinch, not drunk on attention, not broken by rejection. She won't remember you for your words. She'll remember you because you were the one who made her pause and reflect on herself. And when you become that version, whole, grounded, needing nothing, she'll be pulled in. But what exactly is she drawn to? That's what we'll uncover. Next. 8. What is she really attracted to? Most men think women are attracted to something specific. Looks, money, status, a deep voice. Sounds familiar, right? The problem is, that's true, but it's not enough. If those things were all that mattered, then good-looking, rich guys wouldn't get dumped, wouldn't get ghosted, wouldn't get cheated on, but they do, and often. Why? Because women don't fall in love with what you have. They fall for how you make them feel, and that feeling only comes from the energy you give off. She's drawn to a man who's steady but not controlling, warm but not soft, emotionally aware but not emotionally dependent. A man who can walk away at any time but still chooses to stay. You think women want attention? They do, But what pulls them in is selective attention. Picture this. She walks into a room. 5 men notice her, smile, compliment, start talking. But you notice her too, and you stay where you are. You don't chase, you don't flatter, you don't try too hard. That alone makes you stand out. Not because you're louder, but because you're different. She can't explain it, but she feels something in you, something she can't control. And that feeling, it doesn't come from what you say, it comes from how still you are when she's around. You text her, not instantly, not constantly, but when you do, your words cut clean, sharp, simple, intentional, no chasing, no over-talking, no trying to keep the vibe alive. She doesn't know if you like her. She doesn't know if you're talking to someone else. And that space triggers desire. Ever been in a relationship where she was crazy about you at first? She texted first, made plans, asked questions. You thought, this is it. I've got her. And then you texted more, talked more, became predictable, until one day she pulled back. Messages got shorter, interest faded, and you sat there wondering what changed. But the truth? Your energy changed first. Women don't fall for you. They fall for the feeling that you don't need them, but still choose them. So ask yourself, what are you doing that makes her wonder about you when you're not around? If the answer is nothing, you've already faded. Women aren't drawn to the man who's always there. They're drawn to the man who could vanish, but chooses to stay. If you've ever felt like, the more I care, the more she pulls away, you're not alone. Drop a single dot in the comments, so I know you're on this journey too. Because you only gain real attraction when you live like this. No acting, no scripts, no techniques. Just living like a man with standards and never asking permission to be that man. You don't need to play games, because true attraction doesn't come from strategy. It comes from how you live, and that's exactly what we're diving into. Next, 9. This is not a game. It's a standard. Listen closely. If you think everything I've shared so far is just a tactic to win over women, you're looking in the wrong direction. This is not a game. This is the standard of how a man of true value lives. You don't live this way to be loved. You live this way because you refuse to accept any version of yourself that's less than what you're capable of becoming. Ask yourself this: if no one's watching, no one's clapping, no one needs you to prove anything, would you still live this way? That's the greatest challenge for a man, to do the right thing, even when no one praises him, to stay grounded, even when no one sees the temptations he resists, to remain steady, even when a part of him craves validation. And when you live like that long enough, you no longer try to be attractive. You become the attraction. I'm not teaching you how to hack a woman's psychology. I'm reminding you, if you don't control yourself, someone else will control you. You're texting a girl. She replies slowly. You feel frustrated, restless. You start thinking of ways to turn the tables. You dive into YouTube, TikTok, learning tricks like pretend to ghost, delay reply, reverse flirt. That's when you've already fallen into the trap. You're now playing a game where someone else is the center. But a Stoic man, he's the center of his own world. He can like someone, but he doesn't rotate his life around them. He can feel pain, but he doesn't react like a boy. He doesn't rely on tactics, because nothing worth having is worth manipulating to get. Ask yourself, are you trying to make her come back? Or are you becoming the kind of man she wouldn't want to leave in the first place? If you're using what I've shared just to make a girl addicted to you, you're turning yourself into a product. And just like any product, she'll eventually get bored. But if you turn these truths into your way of living, you won't just attract women, you'll attract life. Women don't leave because you're not entertaining. They leave when your energy shifts and you no longer hold the steady presence they once trusted. So live in a way that, if she shows up, you smile. If she leaves, you stay on course. If you're alone, you don't feel lacking. And if you love, you never use love as a reason to lose yourself. This isn't a game of emotional tricks. This is about becoming the kind of man you respect when you look in the mirror. The most attractive man is the one who has nothing to prove. And if you've ever found yourself acting just to be chosen, drop a single dot in the comments. Not for me, but for yourself, as a sign that you're waking up. You don't need to act hard to get. You just need to be hard to replace. And hold that standard, even when no one's watching. No one needs to know you're doing the right thing. What matters is you know. Because at the end of the day, the most powerful thing you can radiate is not a technique, it's presence. And now, if you've truly understood everything I've shared so far, then maybe you don't need to play anymore. You just need to live as a real man. You've made it this far with me, which means you're not just here to understand women, you're here to understand yourself. You've listened to what I've said about energy, about self-mastery, about standards, about how you don't need to become someone else to be loved. You just need to return to the man you were born to be. You don't need to play the game. You need to live by your own code. And that code must be stronger than any rejection you've ever received. Maybe you've been left before. Maybe you begged. Maybe you lost yourself in the fear of losing someone else. But from this moment forward, remember one truth. You no longer need anyone to validate your worth. You are the one who sets the standard, and you live and die by that standard. The right woman won't ask you to trade yourself in, and the wrong one will show you exactly where you still need to grow. If this video spoke to something real inside you, don't like it just to be polite. Leave a comment that's honest. Say what you've stumbled over, or what you're ready to change. Not for me, for yourself. And if you feel like this is a path you don't want to walk alone, hit subscribe. I'll still be here. Not to say things that sound good, but to say what's real and what's necessary for a man who's ready to rise. Hold your standard, carry your weight, and never lower your head just to be loved. I'll see you in the next video.